hidden in the dustbin bag that was loosely tied at the throat with orange bale twine, was deep in the ditch and damming the flow of the rainwater. The body was naked to the waist. The trousers were sodden. There was more twine binding the ankles and the bare feet on the road. He knelt at the edge of the tar macadam and carefully turned the body over. The cigarette burns were bright on the pale chest, amongst the sparse, gingery hairs. The handler shuddered. They had had him for a week. A good clear week since the big men in their combat jackets and their balaclavas had bullocked into his house. A week before they had hooded him, trussed him with twine, put him into the boot of a car or the back of a van, and driven him to the killing ground. He saw that the hands were tied together at the wrist and seemed to clutch at his privates, as if even at the moment of death he had flinched from another kicking. They always hooded them. They always took the shoes off them. In that community, it was the ultimate shame to die barefoot. He took the black plastic in his hands and ripped it. He saw the bruising on the face, and the left eye puffed shut, and the front tooth missing. He saw the bloody mess of the bullet's entry wound. He nodded. It was his player. He pushed himself up from the grass. As he stepped away, they were already bringing the stretcher forward, and moments later the scenes of crime men were starting a check off the ground on which the body had been dumped. It had happened before. It would happen again. The handler gazed down into the mutilated and tortured face of his player, and then the face was lost to his view by the slashing zip of the body bag. He walked fast back down the lane towards the knot of soldiers and policemen. No one spoke to him. He wanted to be out on the first of the helicopters. He'd thought himself a hard man, and the tears ran down his cheeks. He would never work in the province again. Never again play God, hold in his safe-keeping the life of an informer. Good riddance. Send in some other bastard and good luck to you, sunshine. 2.5 years of work come to an end, with his player in a ditch. The driver's accent was Dublin. John Joe Donnelly didn't rate these youngsters from down south. Given his choice, and he wasn't, he would have had boys from his own place. But they sent him drivers and couriers from the south now because they were the ones who weren't on the fingerprint files. John Joe had the map spread across his knees, and he used a torch to track their route into the sprawl beyond Wimbledon. He was wearing pink plastic washing-up gloves. It was past 1 in the morning. He thought the driver was scared out of his mind. He gave the directions quietly and tried to breathe his confidence back into the kid. They came to the road. The road was poorly lit, long stretches of blackness between the streetlights. Along the avenue of mock Tudor homes, a very few still showed an upstairs light, and one only had a ground-floor light on. The suburb was asleep. He had walked down the road and round the right-hand bend just before the target's house in the morning of the day before. There were no lights now in the house. They drove down the avenue. No cars passed them. They came back down the road again. 2 streets away there was a railway station with a sporadic service through the night from Waterloo. The driver parked there, away from the lights. John Joe rehearsed the driver in his role, and then he said, 10 minutes. Could be 15. But you wait for me. You don't crash out unless there's sirens in my street. You hear me? He walked away from the car, carrying a dark brown shopping bag. He hugged the shadows. The night was his friend, and had been ever since he could remember. He was a little over 6 feet in height, broad and strong because all his life he had known physical labour. He was made more formidable by the quilted charcoal anorak that he wore and the black woolen cap that was pulled down to hide his hairline. Dark clothes. Nothing